Cyclocross warm-ups need to get you ready for an intense start and an intense race. Cross races start with a sprint, so you need to have your body ready for that kind of an effort. You need to have a minimal amount of warm-up for maximal effect. Get your heart rate up, get some hot laps in. Here are going to be 5 ways to warm yourself up for cyclocross. Welcome to the Simple Endurance Coaching's Unleash Your Everyday Athlete video podcast. I'm Paul Werlowski, head coach and owner of Simple Endurance Coaching. And each week we talk about one thing that's working for everyday cyclists and runners to empower ordinary people like us to achieve extraordinary fitness and performance. Subscribe to the podcast and sign up on the website, simpleendurancecoaching.com, for a free core strength and stability video. Here's this week's podcast. Number 1 of the 5 ways is a cardiovascular warm-up, which means simply you're trying to get your heart and your blood vessels firing. You're trying to get the blood moving. So here's how you can start this. Ride easy for a little bit, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Do some tempo to get a little bit of breathing going. We should really call this a cardiovascular respiratory warm-up because you're trying to get your lungs firing as well. Number 2 is to start adding some high-intensity intervals. You are trying to get your heart primed for especially the start. So you're trying to do short bursts that elevate your heart rate and increase the blood flow to your muscles and prepare your body for the demands of the race ahead. It's going to get intense, especially that start. So you're trying to do 3 roughly 30-second efforts. So I give my athletes 3 30-second efforts, but I also tell them that you may find that in order to get your heart rate up to race pace, whatever that may be, you may need to do 40 seconds on that last one. You're trying to get your heart rate firing. Third type of warm-up for cyclocross races is dynamic movement. So typically, I get to the start line and you're waiting. So I've done my warm-up on the bike or on the trainer. I get to the call-up area, and you're waiting. You're standing around. So this is where I do some dynamic movement. You're waiting for your call-ups. You're trying to do a bunch of movements with control and focus and be smooth in your movements. Here's what I do. Leg swings, side to side, high knees, kick back. So side to side, whoa, so I hit my microphone. Swing your legs side to side, then do high knees, back and forth. Do some lateral lunges where your feet are wide and you're kind of squatting back and forth on one leg, and then do some arm swings. So you're getting your whole body moving with some dynamic movement. Number 4 could really be number 1, where you are activating some of the skills. This might be where you pre-ride the course. You're preparing your head and your mind mentally for what's happening or what's going to be coming up. Do 2 or 3 laps of the course. The first might be a really slow lap to study the course. The second might be a bit faster, and you might repeat and practice tough spots. Third is at race pace. This can replace your trainer warm-up if you can get your heart rate up high enough and if the timing works out right. And also you can plan your B or C lines. Or the line that is worn in and everybody else is taking might not work in the race, or maybe somebody there, or maybe somebody crashed. You have no idea. So plan and figure out, well, what's my alternate line around this person? And do a little bit of running over the barriers so that you are activating those skills of running. Finally, the 5th one is mental preparation. This is one that I like to do on the line, especially when I'm in the grid and I'm waiting for the start. And there's usually several minutes that are happening. You're either waiting to get called up or you're waiting for the call-ups to finish. The officials are doing their announcements. This is where I do some visualizing, where I visualize at least the start and the first corner so that I can see myself being successful in that start. I do some positive self-talking. Any self-doubts that come up, which we all get at the start, like, oh my God, I feel terrible, or, I'm not ready, or whatever it might be. You're answering those concerns with some positive self-talk. You're setting some realistic goals. I want to stay in this relative position. I want to make sure that I finish this race successfully and really ride the corners well. I want to be smooth. And I want to be practicing some of those pre-race nerve mindfulness. Literally, nerves are a lack or too much blood flow and nervous energy. Can you do some breathing? Can you do some inhales and nasal breathing through your nose, into your belly, and exhale back out through your nose? So the research behind doing a good warm-up means that your body is better able to utilize the oxygen to produce energy and speed. Study results show that at least a good 15-minute warm-up significantly improved performance. A warm-up that had some high-intensity sprints improved the peak and mean power output, which means your average power, so that a brief but intense warm-up may be more effective than a longer, low-intensity warm-up, so don't sit on the trainer for an hour before your race. Here is the warm-up that I give to my athletes. 5 minutes of easy spinning, and usually this will happen on a trainer simply because it's easier to control. 5 minutes of slightly harder riding in a tempo zone, then 3 minutes of easy spinning. 30 seconds that mimic a sprint, shift through all the gears to max effort, spin for a couple minutes as recovery. Repeat those high-intensity intervals twice more. And then if your heart rate isn't up to that kind of race level, do your third interval for 45 seconds to make sure your heart rate gets that high. Thanks for watching this edition of the Simple Endurance Coaching video podcast, Unleash Your Everyday Athlete. Find the full article on the blog that's linked in the notes. Get a free core strength and stability training video when you opt in to receive my weekly articles from Unleash the Everyday Athlete about what works in endurance sports. Sign up below for a virtual coffee so that you and I can talk about your goals. We can talk about questions and talk about making your endurance training more effective, fun, and simple with a capital S. Thanks, and I'll see you out in the road.